Coach Jason Capson, and today we're going to do the ultimate comparison that people have been asking for, the 2024 Arnold Classic Champion Wesley Vissers versus the 2023 Mr. Olympia Chris Bumstead. Who is the best? Who has the better presentation? Who has the better body parts? Who has the better physique? Who ultimately is going to win the 2024 Mr. Olympia? Leave your comments below. I want to know your opinion. Who is going to win between Wesley and Chris Bumstead this year at the 2024 Mr. Olympia, and why? Let's get right into it. So first, let's have a look at the front double bicep pose. And these pictures were pulled from the Mr. Olympia and from the Arnold Classic Championships. Some of the photos aren't necessarily the best, but bear with me as we go through these. The front double bicep pose. Now, as a true bodybuilding fan and as a true lover of all things classic physique, because I think that is absolutely the best category in all the sport of bodybuilding, in my opinion, just my opinion. You tell me what you think. I think Chris Bumstead is the standard. So when we look at the front double bicep pose, there are some major differences between these two athletes. Now, the pose is called the front double bicep pose. So let's look right at the biceps right off the top. I will go without a shadow of a doubt and give Wesley the win on biceps alone. Wesley is definitely stronger in the front double bicep pose than Chris is. However, when you look at a front double bicep pose, you have to look at more than just the biceps. You have to look at the overall structure. You have to look at the legs, etc. In my opinion, Chris's legs are much bigger than Wesley's. Wesley's got that deep, great separation. Conditioning-wise, Chris Bumstead always brings it. So again, I think from a biceps standpoint, just from a biceps standpoint, I would give this pose to Wesley. Wesley wins the front double biceps pose. Front lat spread. Now, I'm not sure who Wesley uses as a posing coach, but he needs to fix this front lat spread. He's coming down. He should be lifting up. When you do a front lat spread, you should actually really feel like there's an anchor on your chest and it's pulling it upwards the way that Chris is doing it. When you look at Chris's front lat spread, you don't even see a gap in between his arms. All you see are lats. And again, Chris's legs are better. Chris just has a much better overall front lat spread. Now, the other thing too, Chris's lats have very low insertion, so again, it just looks better. Wesley's lats are very, very high. He's got great lats, don't get me wrong. Wesley does have great lats, but in this pose in particular, more conditioning, better pose. He does the pose better. His legs are better. His lats are better. Chris blows this one out of the water. Front lat spread, goes to Chris Bumstead. A side chest pose. Now, in this pose, again, as you can see, I'm not sure that Wesley is doing this pose the absolute best that he can possibly do it. I don't think he's twisting enough. If you compare it to Chris, you look at Chris's chest, there's more striations. Chris's chest is a little bit thicker. Chris's shoulders are a little bit better. And Chris's legs absolutely blow Wesley's out of the water in a side chest pose. Chris's legs are the best in all of classic physique, bar none. No one can touch Chris Bumstead's legs in classic physique. Just look at this. No one can, I dare you, argue with me about this. From a side chest pose standpoint, Chris Bumstead's legs are 10 times better than Wesley's legs. His calves are better. His chest is better. Side chest pose easily goes to Chris Bumstead. Back double biceps pose. Now this one's interesting because again, I think Wesley is having some issues with regards to how he's posing in this pose. His glutes, he's not tightening his glutes. You can't see the striations like you can with Chris. His leg is more to the side. It really doesn't even look like he's flexing his calf or his hamstring, where Chris really pops that hamstring. The glutes are tight. The glutes are striated. His calf is gigantic. He's got more definition. Now I would say Wesley's back is every bit as good as Chris's in this back double bicep pose. And once again, Wesley's biceps are better in this pose. So if you take Chris's lower body and you take Wesley's upper body, this is a toss-up. I give this one a tie for back double biceps pose. Vacuum pose, ab pose. Again, when they do their ab pose, it's interesting because, again, it's just a genetics thing. Nobody in bodybuilding, and I mean nobody, does a vacuum pose better than Chris Bumstead. The only person that comes close was Frank Zane way back in the day, who really brought that pose to bodybuilding. Chris Bumstead does it absolutely perfectly in every way. And again, this isn't a knock against Wesley, just genetically speaking. His hips are wider. His waist, his shoulder to waist taper isn't as nice as Chris Bumstead's. Chris's legs, of course, are the best in the classic physique division. Excuse me, bar none. So I have to give this pose easily to Chris Bumstead. Now we go to their classic pose. I put this one up because it's the same pose basically from each of them. One bicep, and then of course Wesley's got the lat spread going on there. Chris has got his arm over his head. Just from a classic physique pose. Again, I think they both do this pose pretty well. The problem with Wesley, again, is just that blocky physique. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, that is what's going to be the downfall for Wesley, no matter what he does. That blocky physique is just always going to be a detriment. And again, did he bring it at the Arnold Classic? He sure did. I tip my hat to Wesley at the Arnold Classic, but I think that is the absolute best that Wesley will ever look. I think that Ramon Dino is going to bring a better package. I don't think Wesley will even make the top 3 at the Mr. Olympia again this year. I've got him in 4th place. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff that can happen between now and then. Wesley peaked perfectly, but again, no one's going to touch Chris Bumstead at the next Mr. Olympia. This pose, I give this one equal. Both of them do it very, very well. Last but not least, let's just talk about the finished product, the posing and the polish. Again, when you look at Wesley's pose here in this particular pose, again, he does it, it's a strange pose for him because it's more off to the side. It's not straight on for the judges or the fans. It's a good pose. It's an okay pose, but I don't think it's his best pose. I think he might want to change that pose. And of course, Chris doing the classic Arnold Schwarzenegger pose. I think he crushes it and nails it. Just from a posing and polish standpoint, you have to give that to Chris Bumstead because he is, of course, the 5-time Mr. Olympia champion. It is going to be virtually impossible to knock Chris Bumstead off of the mantle. He is the king, and I think he is going to continue to be the Mr. Olympia champion for as long as he is competing, for as long as he wants. And again, the only time this will change is when he retires and someone else comes along who can take the title once he is gone. But at this point, there is no one touching him, including Wesley. Again, I tip my hat to Wesley for the Arnold Classic title, but at the end of the day, Chris Bumstead is the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of the world. Leave your opinions in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win the 2024 Mr. Olympia? I put all my money on Chris Bumstead once again. I think he's unbeatable. I really do. At this stage, he is unbeatable. We haven't seen anyone who could possibly beat Chris Bumstead. The only person who has even come close, in my opinion, is Ramon. And even Ramon, I don't think he's ever going to knock Chris off the mantle. It's certainly not going to be Wesley. I think Wesley did a great job at the Arnolds, but I think that's it. I don't think he's going to do. In fact, I don't know if Wesley will win the Arnolds again next year. We will see. Maybe Chris Bumstead competes next year because of that. The increase. Well, the prize is only in the open division, which I think sucks. By the way, I think classic physique deserves more money. Arnold, put your money in the classic physique too. It's the #1 category. It's the most popular category. Yes, the hardcore bodybuilding fans like myself, I love the open bodybuilding, but I'm telling you, classic physique deserves more money than it gets at the Olympia and at the Arnold Classic. So that's my opinion on that. What do you guys think? That's it. That's all for today, guys. Take care. Coach Jason Capson signing off.